Here now is Ted Taylor, CEO of Family Promise of Greater Phoenix. Its mission, provide emergency shelter and social services that help families move toward independent housing and self-sufficiency. Sir, thank you so much for your time this morning.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Marni.
Tell me more about the housing crisis in Arizona. How bad is it right now?
Yeah, it's pretty severe. I mean, although if as a fifth generation Arizonan, I can tell you that I've never seen the amount of multifamily housing building going on as I have this past few years. But it is luxury housing that is being built. So the real crisis in housing in Arizona is at the lower end, the affordability side of housing for middle and lower income families. So that shortage today, we're 48th, I believe it is, in the U.S. in housing availability. For every 100 units of extremely low income housing needed in Arizona today, there are only 19 units available, which means overall across the state of Arizona, we're over 100,000 units of housing short for what we need as a community to survive and to keep housing prices under control. It's just a severe shortage.
Yeah. And Ted, as you talk to families who are in need and who are struggling, what is the greatest hurdle to them being able to afford housing for themselves and their families?
Well, I would say two things. Number one, apartment complexes are in a very strong market for housing, meaning they don't really have to work with the middle and lower income families because there's such demand for housing. So they're very careful about who they're taking in. So if you have any kind of credit challenges or you have any kind of criminal record, anything that would give them a reason to not consider you, and it could even be race or things of that nature that could create this problem, they will not give you the option of getting the apartment. So we're starting to see larger deposits just to get on the waiting list, for example, and those are non-refundable. So these are really serious problems for the lower income families. They really don't get the kind of access that upper income families do in the Arizona market.
Right, and when they don't have that access, where are they ending up?
Yeah, that's what we're seeing every day. I mean, the waiting list for family shelter in the Phoenix area right now, last I looked in the last few days, 250 families. This is an existential crisis, I would argue. Yes, we're seeing individuals all over the valley visually, but what you're not seeing is the families because they don't want to be seen for the risk of losing their children. But the amount of families who cannot get housing today in the Phoenix area is acute. And we are doing everything we can to expand not only housing availability as a small nonprofit, but also shelter capacity so that we can help these families to avoid dangerous things for their children.
Yeah, what a heartbreaking situation. I know there is no simple fix, but in your mind, what are the best next steps to address what you're seeing?
Yeah, I really appreciate the question because I think at the heart of Family Promise's mission is the quality of families and safe family life. And what we're finding is that what little affordable housing is being built on the perimeter of the city, which takes families away from their children. So they have to commute into work. It takes them away from parent-teacher conferences, athletics, social structures. And it is really, really hard on low-income families. So I would argue we need infill housing, and Family Promise is working on a method to develop that infill housing at congregational properties across Arizona so that we can begin to put a dent into low-income family housing, ways that we can innovatively produce more capacity inside the city.
Yeah, well, you're doing some important work. Ted Taylor, the CEO of Family Promise of Greater Phoenix, thank you so much for sharing some of the challenges you're facing and some of the solutions to help get out of the problem. We appreciate your time, sir. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.